A is the point 1060, B is the point 2020. M is the midpoint of line AB, so that's right in the middle. Write the coordinates of M. So we know that point A has an x-coordinate of 10 and point B has an x-coordinate of 20. So because M is the midpoint, we need an x-coordinate that's right in the middle of 10 and 20. So the number in the middle of 10 and 20 is 15, because then we have 5 on each side. So the x-coordinate of M is 15. And now the y-coordinate, so the second number of A, is 60, and the y-coordinate of B is 20. Again, if M is the midpoint, then we need a coordinate that's right in the middle of 20 and 60. So that's 40, because then we have 20 on each side. So the y-coordinate of M is 40. Now C is on the x-axis, directly below B. Write the coordinates of C. So because B has an x-coordinate of 20, point C will have an x-coordinate of 20 as well. And because C is on the x-axis, that means the y-coordinate will be 0. Is 4/9 greater than 1/3? Show how you know. Well, we can think 1/3 is how many ninths. So to find equivalent fractions, we use multiplication. 3 times 3 is 9, 1 times 3 is 3. So 1/3 is only equivalent to 3/9, so 4/9 is larger. Now, is 4/9 half of 8/18? Show how you know. Well, 4/9 is the same or equivalent to 8/18, but if fractions are equivalent, then they're the same size. So 4/9 is equivalent to, so is the same size as 8/18. So half of 4/9 would be 2/9 or 4/18. So our answer is no. 4/9 is not half of 8/18 because it's equivalent, so it's the same size as 8/18. Now it's true that if you find half of the numerator and half of the denominator, you can simplify 8/18 to 4/9, but simplifying fractions, even with division, isn't really dividing fractions. It's finding equivalent fractions, so finding fractions that are of the same size. Here is part of a number line. Write the number shown by the arrow. So on our number line, we have the points 6 million and 7 million marked. And to get from 6 million to 7 million, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. Now the difference between 6 million and 7 million is of course 1 million, and if we divide that by the number of jumps, so divide by 4, that gives us 250,000. So what that tells us is that each of these little lines represent an increase of 250,000. So this line here will be 6,250,000. This line here, 6,500,000, so 250,000 more. And that means that this line here, which the arrow is pointing to, will be 6,750,000. J and K stand for two numbers. Double J equals half of K. Write numbers to complete the sentence below. When J is what, then K is what. So double J means 2 times J, and that equals half of K. So the two J's together will be half the size of K. So that means J is 1/4 of K, or K is 4 times as large as J. So when j is 1, then k is 4. There are lots of other possible answers for this. As long as k is 4 times as large, then you'll get the mark for this question. So you could have when j is 2, then k is 8, because 8 is 4 times 2. You could have 3 and 12, 4 and 16, so lots of possible different answers here. This map has a scale of 1 centimetre to 6 kilometres. The road from Bridlington to Carrborough measured on the map is 6.6 centimetres long. What is the length of the road in kilometres? So the scale is 1 centimetre on the map to 6 kilometres in real life. But we want to know the number of kilometres that is equal to 6.6 centimetres on the map. So 1 times 6.6 is of course 6.6. So to work out the equivalent number of kilometres, we need to work out 6.6 times 6. So that gives us 39.6. So the length of the road is 39.6 kilometres. This is a centimetre grid. Draw 3 more lines to make a parallelogram with an area of 10 centimetres squared. So to find the area of a parallelogram, we multiply the base by the height. And we can see with the line that they've drawn for us that the height is 2. So we need to think, what times 2 is 10? Well, 5 times 2 is 10. So that means the base will need to be 5 centimetres. So we can draw a line 5 centimetres long for the base, and then we need another line of 5 centimetres at the top, because with a parallelogram, opposite sides are the same length. And then we can join up these points to finish our parallelogram. Carol has a rule for a sequence of numbers. Her rule is the next number is the sum of the 2 previous numbers. Use Carol's rule to write in the 3 missing numbers. So we can see how this sequence works, because we have 8 and that's the sum of 3 and 5, or if we have 5, that's the sum of 2 and 3, and so on. So to find this number here, we need to think what plus 0 is 1. Well, 1 plus 0 is 1, so this number here must be 1. And then to find this number, we can think what plus 1 is 0. Well, minus 1 plus 1 is 0, so here we have minus 1. And for this number, we have something plus minus 1 equals 1. Well, plus minus 1 is just minus 1, and 2 minus 1 is 1, so this number here is a 2. This is the cost to visit the waxworks. Adults £8.50, children £4.50. On Friday morning, 12 adults and 20 children visit the waxworks. How much do they pay altogether? So we need to find the cost for 12 adults, then find the cost for 20 children and add up our total. So to find what the adults pay, we need to multiply £8.50 by 12. If we use column multiplication, that gives us £102. Or rather than using column multiplication, we could work out that 12 times £8 is £96, and then 12 times 50 pence is £6. So putting those together, 12 times £8.50 must be £102, because 96 plus 6 is 102. So now, to work out how much the children pay, we need to work out 20 times £4.50. To do that, we could first work out 2 times £4.50, so that's £9, and then multiply our answer by 10, because if we multiply by 2 and then 10, that's the same as multiplying by 20. Or we could multiply by 10 and then by 2 and get the same answer. So that's £90. So the adults pay £102, the children pay £90. So that's £192 altogether. What fraction is exactly halfway between 3/5 and 5/7? So to find the number halfway between or in the middle of two numbers, one thing that we can do is add up the numbers and then divide by 2. But because we have fractions, it's probably easier for us to find equivalent fractions. So 5 and 7 are both factors of 35, so we can find equivalent fractions with a denominator of 35. 5 times 7 is 35, 3 times 7 is 21, 7 times 5 is 35, 5 times 5 is 25. So we need to find the fraction in between 21 over 35 and 25 over 35. So the number in the middle of 21 and 25 is 23. So our fraction is 23 over 35. Write the missing number. 12.5 divided by something equals 7.5 divided by 1.5. So let's start by working out 7.5 divided by 1.5. So you can divide by a decimal. But to do that, we need to work out our 1.5 times table. So 1 times 1.5 is of course 1.5. But if we add another 1.5, that means 2 times 1.5 is 3. 3 times is 4.5. 4 times is 6. And 5 times 1.5 is 7.5. And that means 7.5 divided by 1.5 is 5. So now we have 12.5 divided by something equals 5. So we have a missing number division. And because it's the second number in our division that's missing, we can still divide to find our missing number. So we need to work out 12.5 divided by 5. So we can copy up our decimal point, and 12 divided by 5 is 2, remainder 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So our missing number is 2.5.